December 20th, 1968. A teenage couple is shot dead in their car. July 5th, 1969. Another teenage couple is shot. This time the man lives. This happens again in December. Another couple shot. Only the girl truly bites it. In October, a taxi driver gets killed. If you have ears, you may have found out that these are all murders. But there's nothing truly unifying them, except for a series of phone calls to the police department from the killer himself. Yup, this killer took it upon himself to bring these murders together, fessing up to all of it under the name Zodiac. The Zodiac Killers is a truly iconic case of a murderer for sport, who gave phone calls to the police and encrypted ciphers to local newspapers, all with a somewhat shaded motivation. The case remains mostly cold today. Everything is there, but it all needs to be put together. Today I'm joined by my good friends Lucas and Jaiden to give a brief summary of the case of the Zodiac Killer. How are you guys doing?
I'm good.
Yeah,
I'm good.
Good.
Yeah.
I'm having a wonderful day.
Yeah,
You guys have amazing personalities, you know.
Yeah, my personality is
Just
nothing.
kidding.
I can't wait to report on the Zodiac Killer.
Yeah, I'm so excited.
He has a very interesting case because he's definitely a very popular case. You know, like
And it's a really old one.
yeah, it was back in the '60s.
Real,
or
back
almost
in
70s.
1968.
Yeah.
So as you know, today we're going to be talking about the Zodiac Killer and what went down during those couple of years in 1968, as well as how the case is coming along today. So we got a couple questions lined up for us, just about the main body, but I feel like we should maybe start out with like a more in-detail summary. Jaden, would you like to take it away?
All right, I can do that. The first confirmed kill of the Zodiac Killer happened in December 20th, 1968. This was a couple, actually, so it was technically the first two kills. This was David Fairway and Betty Lowe Jensen. This happened in San Francisco, and they were near the car, and they were, I believe, shot to death? I don't think that's true.
Yeah. This is kind of a recurring thing within the Zodiac Killer. He seems to have a thing for couples.
And also guns, too. He loves guns.
Well, I mean, all serial killers do, right? I mean, not the good ones, but
Well, maybe not the Axeman.
I mean, it's easier.
Definitely.
a little bit. I prefer axe murderers because it's like a subclass of serial killer, but it's more visceral in its imagery.
You like serial killers.
I don't like them per se, but if I were to be one, I'd be an axe murderer.
You heard it here first, folks. If you hear of any axe murderers, search for
Well,
Skyler Ride.
I'm not saying that.
I think out of the three of us,
No, let's
you would
move
probably
on.
be the first one to murder someone.
I'd be the first one murdered.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, Lucas would be the first
That's
one
like-
murdered, and it would be most definitely Skyler, right? Because his head would be chopped clean off with like the Leviathan axe.
Okay, well, let's bring it back on track.
Anyway,
So the Zodiac Killer, right?
yeah. So the second murder happened a few months later, or several months later, in July 5th, 1969. It was very similar circumstances. I believe it was also around San Francisco, and it was also another teenage couple, with Darlene Farron dying. But the male survived this time. His name was Michael Magu. I believe that was his name. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong.
You?
Yeah, it's weird. But after that, this is where his name started, because he started phoning the police and he told them to take responsibility for these murders. I don't know if he started setting up ciphers yet, but I do know that he started saying the Zodiac is speaking. So that's where they
He
got
started all of his phone calls with "This is the Zodiac speaking," which is where he gets his name from.
Yeah, which I don't know why he was so into like solar systems or whatever, but like
He's a total astrology girl, but
Man was totally a Scorpio.
So what's your sign? Okay, you're dying. That was him.
what is your sign?
So the third murder happened a few months later in September 27th, 1969, and it also involved another teenage couple, with the male surviving. Cecilia Shepard died, and Brian Hartnell survived. Thank God.
I don't think. Do you think that the Zodiac Killer like left the male alive on purpose? Because I'm pretty sure they both do get shot in these cases.
It sounds like he did. Like it sound. I
I
mean,
think it might just. In my head, it's just like by chance, but I'm not sure.
yeah. Well, this also twice in a row. Okay, but his last confirmed kill kind of like contradicts like him leaving alive the males, because I believe the fourth murder happened on October 11th, 1969. And it was the taxi driver who was shot. And his name is Paul Stein, which is that's a guy. So
Yeah. It really breaks the trend in his murders. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think he had exactly a trend. I mean, besides like the young teenage couples, I don't know how old Paul Steen was, but he was probably older, I imagine.
You know, he's working a taxi job. He knows how to drive. You know, he does it professionally. So I'm sure he's on the older side, definitely. Definitely not young.
I mean,
So I don't know.
obviously I don't know how old he is, but he strikes me as like the 30s type. And these couples were all like in their teens, probably like college years, which
Yeah.
does line up with an earlier murder. Back in 1966, there was a murder in Riverside, California. Her name was Sherry Bates, and she died on Halloween. She was beaten and stabbed multiple times, and her throat was slit. That was the main part.
And that's assumed to be the Zodiac Killer?
Yeah. I don't... Yeah, that's assumed to be him.
Did he
Why is
make
it
a call
assumed?
about that one?
I think he was practicing. I think he was practicing before he was like, he was getting his act together before he was like, alright, I'm ready to hit him with my mysteries.
Yeah,
I mean, he did say he enjoyed doing it, which meant that he did it before making the calls.
Yeah, but now he's ready to make like a career out of it. He's
Yeah.
ready to be.
Yeah, no, Sherry Bates was like his intern call. He was like, I think I'm ready now to... Oh, yeah. There were also some other victims, even before Sherry, which was in 1962 in April. This man named Ray Davis. He was shot behind his cab twice. People believe that this has connected to the Zodiac Killer because it was a cab driver. Apparently, this man called the police to take credit for the murder, contacting the police, stating his intent was to baffle the police, displaying no obvious motive for the murder, and using a rifle, I guess, a gun. Which I think Ray, because like I don't think he ever like stabbed anyone, so Sherry is kind of like a weird case because he used a knife, I would assume, and he also beat her up.
Weird guy.
He's a pretty weird fellow, in my opinion.
Isn't the suspected guy was what? He worked for the Air Force?
Yeah, Gary Post is one of the most widely accepted theories for who was the Zodiac Killer. He also reportedly tried to kill one of his male relatives with a sledgehammer, so that's exciting.
That is true. We can get more into that.
I guess he just likes to use guns on couples.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess you can't have one slip away, you know.
I mean, but
I
like,
mean, this is really not looking good for me.
okay, but like, my question is, why did he want to kill so many like younger people? Like, what was his obsession? Like, his stick with younger people? Like,
I don't know. Maybe he had a bad breakup.
this one girl he's really
Okay, you know, we're here for you, Zodiac Killer. You know, you don't have to take it out on
Bro,
people
you
like
could have
this.
just like gotten a therapist, vented this.
Yeah, I hear better help's pretty good.
Yeah, but instead he just said he claimed that he murdered 37 people, but currently I think we only have 7 people that have
Yeah.
actually.
Was that one of the phone calls to the police that he said that?
Yeah,
Or was it in one of the ciphers?
I think it was one. I think it might have been one of the ciphers, but he had a lot of ciphers. He was very well known for.
Yeah, I feel like
ciphers.
we should talk about the ciphers here real quick.
One of the
It's one
ciphers
the biggest ones.
One of the ciphers was he said he was gonna blow up a school bus full of children, but clearly that didn't happen as it was deciphered like 50 years later and there were no blown up children.
Well,
Yeah.
a lot of them were threats. I mean, I'm not sure like he
Yeah.
was an empty, threatless man, but you know, I don't think he intended to do that.
He was. I assume he's kind of cunning or something. I assume he's like got a sort of plan. So I think that was meant to like distract somehow, or like
Probably.
bring attention away from something a bit larger he had in the making.
I don't know when he made the threat to do the whole bus full of children, but
Yeah.
it probably was to throw them off.
I'm thinking he thought that they were gonna break the cipher before they did.
What do you mean?
Yeah, it was either the
Like earlier.
the Z32 or the Z18 cipher. I think that might have been what it's called. That had actual coordinates to
Yeah.
a place next to the school that he threatened to blow up a bus at. So he clearly knew his stuff, and I don't know. Maybe if they dug up some ground there, they would have found like a bomb or something. But I don't know.
I mean, do you think he planted a bomb there though? I don't think he really planted
That
a
sounds
bomb.
goofy.
Yeah. Well, actually,
Yeah,
my question, do you remember where the location was? Because it wasn't in California. Because a lot of these murders are also in California, in Northern California.
Yeah. I think most of them are in San Francisco, and I think all of them are in California, right?
Yeah, I know that Sherry was in Riverside, California.
Yeah.
I don't know where Ray died though, but I think an important part to talk about are the potential suspects. There are many potential suspects. But Lucas, I'm gonna give this up to you.
So there was Gary Post, who is what the case breakers, as they're called, who picked up this case after it became a cold case. That's who they decided was the most likely suspect. But before that, there was also Arthur Leigh Allen, who was a convicted child molester.
They didn't really get too far with that. Apparently, he was picked up near one of the Zodiac's attempted victims, and he also owned a watch with his signature crosshair, like his symbol
Yeah.
on it. But
All the Zodiac's ciphers and letters had a crosshair on them.
yeah, it was like
yeah.
a circle.
I feel like we should mention really quick that we never really mentioned this, but I guess it was sort of implied. The Zodiac Killer would mail ciphers and puzzles. I think there's 4 in total, to local newspapers of San Francisco or California or something. And 2 of them got solved, I think, around the time of the murders, and 2 of them, I think, got solved very recently, in the last couple of years.
Yeah, I think one of them said that.
That's how we figured out the Z32 cipher, which is, 32 is in reference to the amount of characters in the cipher.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Z32 one had coordinates to the place next to the school where there would presumably be a bomb. But that was back in '68, so I
Yeah,
guess.
the case has been going on since the 60s, but it was only solved in 2021.
Well, not exactly
Well,
solved.
it was
It's
never solved.
Or, no,
Yeah.
not solved,
not
but
solved. Yes, that's the assignment.
yeah.
Something I do want to point out is that the case that the case breakers found, where they found out that Gary Post was apparently the Zodiac Killer using forensic evidence and stuff like that, the police actually dismissed that. They say it's not true. Which I personally don't get why, because the forensic evidence that they used was on Sherry Bates. It was on her. So
And also, there was already a call into the police about him trying to murder someone.
yeah, there was it was a male relative, and then also his daughter-in-law.
And they couldn't get rid of either of those charges, so like,
Yeah, I mean, there's not a lot to go off of Arthur Allen. Obviously they couldn't really do anything with him because he died in 1992 from a heart attack, so they couldn't like actually build a case off of him. Supposedly he made a confession about murdering these people to a friend, but that's just speculation. That doesn't mean anything. There's no evidence. Yeah, but something I also do want to point out about Gary is that his wife. He pushed her into a wall, and she was 74 at the time, and he broke her pelvis in 4 places, and this caused him to be in a mental facility, so he couldn't face trial for anything because he was mentally incompetent. So
stand-up citizen right there.
so
Wow.
yeah, I think that is a big reason why, and maybe that's like his motive, because he's just insane. Like obviously he doesn't really have a motive besides like throwing off the police or something, or like just messing
Well,
up
there
everything.
was the one of the first 2 ciphers. I think it said that he isn't satisfied with hunting animals. He likes to hunt humans because they're the most dangerous animal. So yeah, he's obviously got some sort of like sport, like like desire to kill almost.
Yeah,
He
like
just like wants to do it.
I feel like that's a big reason. Like I think that's his main motivation, just because he's insane. Like he's not a sane person. Obviously, any serial killer isn't a sane person, but like usually, like they might like murder their ex-wife because they like cheated on them or something. Like, something that's more like That would make more sense than like
Yeah.
I'm just gonna murder.
Yeah, it's got like a very clear reason, but he
Right.
just does it for the same reason a hunter might kill a deer. Well, I mean, not to eat them, but like I guess.
I don't think he was a cannibal. I don't think he ever implied that.
No, but also they would have found out if they took a chunk out of him and saved it for later.
Yeah.
That would be-
No, I don't.
But yeah, no.
I don't think they ever found his body.
Yeah, but it's like the same sort of like satisfaction that a hunter might get from killing a deer, he would get from killing a person.
So you think he was telling the truth in the ciphers when he said he was only doing it for sport?
Probably.
I think so, but also there was that guy with the signature crosshair on the watch, right?
Yeah.
So I think that might be like a way to take credit for it. Like, yeah, you found
Maybe
the
he's a
Zodiac
fan.
Killer. I think he might have been sending out those ciphers because he wanted credit. Like he wanted to go recognized as the guy that killed those guys. It's almost like in a sort of selfish, self-serving way.
Yeah, I mean there are a lot.
So
of
he had to have the crosshair on him.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, what do you think he was doing with the ciphers?
I really don't know.
Uh,
Like that's one of the big questions is like why did he do that?
Did he want to be found out? Was he trying to make a real life ARG? Who knows?
I think his whole like objective was to like make a mystery because he's obviously insane, right? And he likes to hunt humans. So probably he just wanted to like have like this whole overarching mystery, like he's in like some detective novel. Like he wanted to be like the thief.
The antagonist. He
Right.
wanted to be the antagonist.
Right. He wanted to be like the villain or something. I mean, we
He
obviously
wanted
don't know.
to be the Death Note.
we don't know because I think Gary died in 2017.
17, I think.
I
Or
think-
was it 18?
Yeah, no, yeah, he died in 2018 when he was 80 years old. So we don't know why he did anything, and he died before the forensic, the case breakers could actually figure out why or who he was. So it's kind of like an Arthur situation where we don't know, but I think that's just like a big thing for this case is that we don't know, and I think
We should go through some of the other questions.
Yeah, how do you think he remained so hidden through all of this? Like, he had to send the letters and everything.
Yeah, I feel like there would be some sort of evidence like on the letters themselves or like on the bodies, but I suppose
Fingerprints
that never
or something.
went anywhere. I don't know. I guess it's hard to do that stuff. It's not easy.
Yeah.
yeah,
Who knows how many killers have actually gotten away with murder? Like I don't know that. That might be a statistic we might want to look up, but
yeah, well,
not for now.
typically
Did he go to the post office in like full gloves and mask?
yeah, just like
Well, I mean, that's what I'd like to think. That's the image I have of him in my brain. Is like the Riddler from the Batman.
the Riddler.
The
Like,
Rizzler.
that's what I think of.
He probably, I don't know. I actually don't know. He might have had like a right hand man. Like Arthur may have been like a right hand man, maybe.
Maybe actually, that's not a bad theory.
Yeah, but again, everyone. This case is so old that everyone who's involved with the like case is already
Yeah.
dead. So this case just turns into
Yeah.
speculation because we don't.
That's actually something I want to bring up. Probably like a question to wrap it up a bit, but will we ever figure out like definitely what happened 100%? Like, is that even a possibility anymore?
No, unless another death appears under the name of the Zodiac Killer.
Well, at that
Well,
point,
I feel like
it would
at
be
that
like,
point it'd be a bit of a spiritual successor and
Yeah.
admirer.
Yeah.
It would be like a Zodiac Killer Junior. Like.
Yeah, that's what.
The terrible sequel, Son of the Mask.
Yeah, like I don't think the Zodiac Killer is gonna come back. He
Yeah,
actually,
no.
I think to truly wrap this up, we need to talk about how culturally significant he is. Because
There was
like,
a movie in 2007 about the
yeah,
Zodiac
like he's
Killer.
had movies made about him. The Riddler on Batman, on like the villain on Batman, like he is based off of the Zodiac Killer. So a lot of like those kind of villains are just based off of him, and I think that's
Yeah, kind of makes you think. Like, did the Zodiac Killer win? Did he like get what he wanted in the end? Because
I think
he's
so.
had an impact on society. He's become like an urban legend, or not an
Right.
urban legend, but just a legend.
I think off of
He's that killer.
our motive, like what we think his motivation was, totally. I think he won. Cause like first off, he didn't even get caught, which is
Yeah.
baffling to me. because like it was all in
Already
California,
he's got a good track record, but then he becomes like
like
this.
cultural like phenomenon.
He got to live his entire life doing as many murders as he wanted
Right.
and making an AIG.
If he was Gary, he got to live a full 80-year life, completely fine,
Yeah.
completely free of like. It's just
Police.
Well, he went to a mental institution,
Well,
which
I
is
mean,
not great.
that
but-
was the tail end of his life. I think he enjoyed his life enough. But
Well,
We're
yeah, I
talking
guess
about
so.
how he enjoyed his life, bruh.
he most likely
Yeah.
did. He murdered a bunch of people.
I know.
But I think to wrap up the Zodiac Killer, it's just a big I don't know. We don't know. I think.
But it's truly interesting, you know.
it is really.
Yeah.
He killed a bunch of people. He made it look showy. He ended up getting baked into American, just legend
Culture.
culture. Even, you know, movies are about him. He's just a source of inspiration at this point. In the end, he pretty much just won the serial killer lottery.
Yeah, he got like the 6 in a row.
Yeah, they got the 777 on the murder machine.
But yeah.
Full house.
Well, that'll be it for this this episode and only episode of
Just one and only one-shot episode.
Zodiac Rotten.
The Zodiac Killer podcast, the official one.
Yeah, the official,
The real one.
the only
There's
totally.
probably a really good Zodiac Killer podcast out there. It took more than 20 minutes to explain it, but you know, in my humble opinion, this one's better.
I gotta agree.
Yeah, I think we're like the best.
You all have a good day.
Have a wonderful day.
My best wishes.